family of Rotary in Zone 8. I'm so excited to be with you, even though virtually, for your fabulous institute. Technology, especially virtual platforms like this, are really one of the things that we learned from the pandemic about how easy it is for us to connect all over the world. So I appreciate you inviting me to participate. And what I'd like to do is share with you some information about what we're going to put in the spotlight for the year that we work together. So my very first priority is making sure that we advance our action plan so that we grow membership. So why is membership important? Well, actually, it's very simple. We are a membership organization that does service. And the more members we have, the more service we can do. And the less members we have, the less service we can do. It's really not rocket science. And how are we going to do that? Well, we have a fantastic action plan that will help us. It's a template. It helps all of our clubs take a look at themselves and figure out what are the things that you can do to make your club simply irresistible. When we do that, when we become simply irresistible in our club meetings and our club experiences, membership takes care of itself because the people who are with us are not apt to leave. They won't want to take off easily because they're having such a good time and they're saying, this is fantastic. And the people who are on the outside looking in are going to say, what's happening there? Like, these people are changing the world and they're having a great time. I need to be a part of that. So it's really important for us to take a look at that action plan and make sure that all of our clubs know how to use it locally, because regional adaptability is real in Rotary. The way we do Rotary in Pennsylvania is not the way it's done in Australia, New Zealand. It's not the way it's done in India or Canada. It's different. That doesn't mean that we change our guiding principles, of course not. We keep fellowship, leadership, integrity, diversity, and service at the core of what we do. We keep our four-way test at the core of what we do, our object of Rotary. But the way Rotary is done can be done differently because every generation will want to do it in a different way. So the first priority is increasing our impact. That's the priority that's asking us to look at measurement and taking things to impact rather than just input and output. I know that some of you on the call were in Rotary when Ian Risley was president, and he asked us to do something. Do you remember what it was? Sure, he asked us to plant trees. And we all did that, and we planted trees. And everybody counted up the number of trees and sent that off to headquarters. But we stopped there. It was input and output. What we really needed to do was take it to impact, all the way to impact. There is a program in Rotary where we've always had strong impact statements, and that's in our polio eradication program. From the beginning, we've been able to say, when polio is eradicated, there will be 11 million children every year that will not get this crippling disease. We've been able to say, when polio is eradicated, there will be US, I think it's $85 billion annually that won't be spent on ancillary healthcare costs like post-polio syndrome issues. That's the kind of statement that caught the attention of the strong partners that we have. Because when we started in the mid-'80s, we had a handful of partners, but now it's Bill and Melinda Gates, it's the Gavi Vaccine Alliance, the World Health Organization, and a whole host of others, because they heard about the impact that we are having as we move to eradicate polio and create a polio-free world. And so many people have come to Rotary for the same reason. They said, I want to belong to an organization like this. My father had polio, or I had polio as a child. So we really need to get better at measuring the things that we do, especially at our club level and our district level, to make sure that we are getting to what kind of impact that project will have. You know, our Rotary Foundation did exactly that, took a look at how we were having an impact around the world. And, you know, we went from matching grants to global grants. Now we also have something called programs of scale. Think about that. $2 million projects that really have an impact. You know, eradicating malaria in an entire country. My goodness, that is a huge, huge impact. So think about how your club can take a look at the things it does and make sure they're necessary in your community and they're having the kind of impact that they should. Our second priority is expanding our reach, and I've already touched on this a little bit. You know, one of the things that makes me so proud about Rotary is that, you know, for 110 years, we had the same meeting model. We went to meetings 4 times a month. We took attendance. People, you know, we rang the bell. We stood up and did pledging, singing, all of that. But when our Council on Legislation met in 2016, it created new meeting models. That's where we developed e-clubs and passport clubs and satellite clubs and all kinds of different ways for people to come into this organization. And that to me is incredible because that means, again, that we're meeting people where they are. You know, I know all of you have seen that fantastic video that Rotary produced called Anytown, and it talks about a club that met at noontime. Well, that was my club. My club met at noontime, and we recently took a look at ourselves and decided, you know, we're in a community of 100,000 people. Who are we missing? Well, we couldn't get any teachers to join because they're all in class. We couldn't get medical people because they had patients. We were probably missing a lot of retailers because they had customers. So we changed our meeting to morning, and immediately we got 3 new members and didn't lose any. Didn't lose any because everybody who was coming at noon just could come in the morning before they went to work. But we didn't stop there. We also started talking to other groups in the community, young professionals, a chamber, different places, and found out that there was a group of people who were interested in service, but they simply didn't want to meet at all. So we adopted the satellite model called Impact. And that's for people who want to serve, but they don't want to go to meetings. But we also recognize that they're not gaining Rotary knowledge because they're not coming to meetings. So once every 6 to 8 weeks, we have a special evening. We call it Pizza, Beer, and Rotary. And it's for the impact group. They do come, and only 1 or 2 Rotarians will go. And we talk about something that has to do with Rotary. Our founder, how we're organized, the COL, whatever it is, you know, our council, because we want them to engage and become knowledgeable about Rotary, to get some Rotary depth. Eventually, that impact group will be strong enough, if it wants to, that it can break off and become its own club. But why I'm telling you that story is because since we've done the inductions, is that all within the past year, we've gone from a club of 34 to a club of 58. So new clubs really are the quickest way for us to grow our organization while also answering a special need so that people can see a way to come into the organization. The third priority is the one that talks about engaging our participants. And that means anybody with whom we interact. It could be parents of the student of the month. It could be the beneficiaries of your program, and certainly it means members. One of the easiest ways for us to deal with our own members and make sure that they are engaged is to talk to them as they come into our clubs. So when we talk to people as they come in, we have a better sense of what they're looking for in Rotary. And then we're better able to plan our programs, our projects, our socials. And from time to time, we really are going to hit on something that makes sense for that particular person. And so that's what will keep people engaged. That's what will keep them coming back to Rotary, because there's something going on that has value for them. And then the final priority is the one that asks us to continue to adapt, continue to be flexible. In addition to learning technology and recognizing that we can connect around the world, this one is asking us to look at our club and how it's structured. Do we have the right form? Do our districts have the right form and structure? Are there better ways for us to do the work of Rotary? And that, again, is going to vary from place to place because it is regional. And the term that we use in Rotary is regional adaptability. So when all of our clubs are able to embrace those priorities and figure out how to use them locally, that's what's going to force us to become or remain simply irresistible with our clubs and our experiences. And that is how we're going to grow membership. The second thing that's important to me is healing a divided world by using positive peace and the tools that we have in Rotary. It's not necessarily unknown that, the world is a mess. You can look around anywhere and we have wars and famines and floods and earthquakes and all kinds of things happening. And our world is really divided. But we have tools in Rotary. We have strong tools in Rotary that can help us. We may not be able to, stop all of the things that are wrong in the world, but it's like the starfish story. If we help one here and one there and another, we have an impact on that individual, on that community. So we have this beautiful, beautiful program called the Rotary Peace Polls. And some of your clubs may already be doing that. It's a visible poll that's placed in your community by your Rotary Club. And on the poll itself, it says, "May peace prevail on earth," in the languages, some of the languages that represent those that are spoken in your community. And then the Rotary Club encourages people in the community to use that location for any event that promotes unity, harmony, peace. It's a wonderful project. Inexpensive. There are professionals that make the polls, or you can simply approach your local, perhaps your vocational technical school, and maybe students can create it. But it's a fabulous, fabulous program. We also have the Positive Peace Academy, which is an online activity that all of us can do to become positive peace advocates. We have our terrific, terrific peace centers around the world. We have more than 1,700 individuals who have graduated from those programs and now have gone back into their careers and their communities and are using what they learned in conflict resolution to make the world better where they are. So there are all sorts of ways that we can take a look at using peace. Our four-way test, what a beautiful set of statements and what they really mean. I often say to clubs, wouldn't our world be in better shape if we all lived the four-way test instead of just reciting it? So maybe there will be some clubs who will adopt that as a project with your local school and perhaps do a four-way speech contest for your students. Lots of ways, but the idea is that we want to use our tools in Rotary to help create positive peace around the world. And finally, I'm interested in continuity because we do fabulous things in Rotary. We empower girls, we protect the environment, we promote mental health, we eradicate polio, we do all sorts of fabulous things. And it seems crazy to stop them at the end of a year, at the end of a Rotary year. So I want to encourage all the places where certain programs have developed, Rotary clubs have embraced them, districts have embraced them, to continue to do them, because that's really a way that we keep people engaged. It's really a way that we promote Rotary. It's really a way for the public to see what it is we do as an organization. So those of you who will be coming to Orlando as DGEs, you'll hear much, much more about each one of these priorities, but I wanted to share them with all of you in Zone 8 so that you have an idea of what we'll work on together. our vision statement begins with that word for a reason, because the magic of Rotary happens where you are, not where I'll be sitting sometimes, in Evanston, where we are headquartered in the United States. But it really does happen at our club level, because that's where the creativity and the folks who are Rotarians roll up their sleeves and really change the world. They create lasting change, for people in those communities, for people around the globe, and certainly we create change in ourselves. So thank you very much for listening, and I wish you all a very, very successful institute, and I look forward to meeting you somewhere in the Rotary world, maybe in Singapore, maybe in Calgary, or maybe in some other place. All the best.